Hey everyone, the start of this video is going to be a little bit different from what normally happens. This is just a replay of chapters 3, 8 and 9, which by now we've seen about 60 times already, so I figured I'd do something slightly different to end the series. I initially recorded the audio and video for this one in July 2022. The audio that you're hearing now was recorded in April 2023, a couple of days before this went live on YouTube. If you've actually watched this playthrough, firstly, thank you. Secondly, I'm not sure why you did that. And thirdly, I think you might have realized that I'm a rather cynical and bitter old man, and many aspects of this playthrough reflected that. I have played this game before, so this was a replay, and it was a lot of me nitpicking about minor things throughout the game. I just want to make it super clear that I do in fact love this game, and I really wanted to try and explain why. This was my game of the year in 2020 by a significant margin. Nothing came close. I didn't get the opportunity to play Hades in 2020. If I did, the conversation might be a bit different, but honestly, it's fine. To try and cut this speech short, which will go for about 20 minutes or so, I think the reason I like this game so much is because I'm not beholden to the original Final Fantasy VII. It's a good game, but it's not one that I truly love. The other thing is that my expectations for this game fluctuated over the years. They went from sky high to rock bottom. Alright, where do I start? So I guess the problem I have with JRPGs in general is that the first one that I ever played was a bootleg copy of Chrono Trigger around 2001. Yeah, I started late. And starting with Chrono Trigger was great and terrible because, quite frankly, it's all been downhill since. Anyway, while playing that, I became aware of the Final Fantasy series and the discourse around Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. Up until that point, I'd never even heard of it. I hadn't heard about 7. I think I'd seen a little bit of footage of 8, like their very, very stars, but I don't really remember it at all. I checked out Final Fantasy VI very quickly, and I didn't get very far into it at all because it didn't look as good as Chrono Trigger, the interface looked worse, it was just more complex and confusing all round, so yeah, I dropped it. At that time, I also recall reading some stuff about Final Fantasy VII, and that it was actually the greatest game of all time, and that there's an extremely traumatic event at the end of Disc 1, which I won't spoil because even though it's in the public domain, you might actually be watching blind and Rebirth hasn't come out yet. So what I did is I checked out Final Fantasy VII briefly as well, and yeah, I dropped that as well. The whole experience was just weird. I definitely didn't get into it. I think the furthest I got was maybe to Calm or the Chocobo Farm, just beyond the events of Remake. I think it was something about the game's translation or localization that just did not sit well with me. The graphics were weird. Stuff like that. I'm not ashamed of dropping that or anything because I was late to the party on this, but put simply, 7 was not for me at that particular time. That was my total experience with the Final Fantasy series up until about 2004 or 2005, where, just on a whim, I obtained a copy of Final Fantasy X for the PS2. And that game, in its PAL glory and all, and oh boy, if you've not played the PAL version, go check that out. That game changed everything for me. Again, it took a little while to warm up to it, but I have no hesitation in saying that 10 is one of my favorite games. Period. I am completely unapologetic about that. It's got problems, but I love it. If I've not said this already on stream before, I'll say it now. I would love to do a speedrun of Final Fantasy X someday. If only because I can't think of any better way to spend 10 or 11 hours playing a single video game straight. I'd love to do it one day. Just got to find the time. After playing that game, I decided, finally, to check out the rest of the series properly this time. I went back and obtained PS1 copies, some of which are infamously terrible, and played through them all. And at this time, I still haven't played Final Fantasy III properly. I've got a version on mobile, but I haven't really played it. And I've not touched the 2 MMOs, that is 11 and 14, again due to time constraints. I'm not here to criticize all of the old games, but all I'll say is that replaying 7 in its entirety with the help of a guide, in hindsight, I think it is definitely one of the better entries in the series. But it's not great. It's just there. The characters are cool, the setting is cool, but I really do think it was hampered by its localization, and that's been discussed over the years. Square Enix used multiple localization teams, and that's why it seems a bit stilted and weird in places. The plot's fine, the basic premise is fine, but the localization is just strange. I'm also being a bit presumptuous, but I think a huge part of Final Fantasy VII's original appeal was that it absolutely blew everyone's mind in 1998. It came on 3 discs, which was unheard of unless you played PC games. Its size and scale for a console game was off the charts. I played it around 2005, 2006, and I was just late to the party. It just didn't have that impact. But yeah, I got through it. I did enjoy it. I think it's a good game. I don't know if it's a great game. Yeah, I realize that's blasphemy, but you know, you're just going to have to deal with that, I'm afraid. Anyway, Final Fantasy XII came out. I've played that game in its entirety at least 3 times by now. On the PlayStation 2, on the PlayStation 3 using backwards compatibility, RIP my PlayStation 3 with backwards compatibility, and the PlayStation 4 Zodiac Age Remaster. 12 is not a good game. It's just not. It feels like a very bad single-player MMO with characters that are basically devoid of personality. There's a reason that Vaan is, I think, the most hated protagonist, and honestly, I think Balthier is the only one that I really remember. It's a game where you run around, killing random mobs, you program your gambits and then let the game play itself while waiting for loot drops or building up chains. Yeah, it had a weird plot that tried to deal with politics, and it just didn't work for me at all. I think the only thing it really got right compared to 10 is that the dialogue felt far more natural. The characters spoke and interrupted each other's lines with much more fluidity than 10, which was basically restricted to, okay, a single character could speak, their audio file would play, there was an animation connected to that. 10 was very stilted in that regard. If you go back and look at the transition between 10 and 12, 12 looks much more natural. But nothing else in that game worked. It really didn't. 2009 comes around and Final Fantasy XIII comes out after a long delay. And hoo boy. That game is better than I will give it credit for, but I didn't like it at all. I feel in particular it is let down the most by its combat system and its cast of characters. Yeah, not even the plot, and that's saying something. I've played 13 once at launch, completed it, platinumed it, and honestly, I have not even thought about touching it since. I think if they release a remaster, I'll give it another go, but that game has some huge problems. It really does. Many years later, can't tell you exactly when, it was well after launch, played 13 too. That one was fun. I mean, it's not a good game, and it's in the middle of a trilogy which I don't like, but I found that a lot more fun and interesting than the game that came before it. And 13.3, Lightning Returns. What the hell do we say about 13.3? I guess I can say I always respected companies for trying something different, moving away from their comfort zones, that sort of thing. But 13.3 was trash. Moving back to a single character party where you're just controlling one character in Lightning, the time limit, turning Hope into a fucking child again, trying to wrap up all of the nonsense of the past 2 games and the Fabula Nova, whatever it was, lore that they tried to invent for this trilogy. It was a bad game. It's an interesting game, but bad games are often interesting in their own right, so that's not a huge achievement if you ask me. And just quietly, I think the single protagonist thing with 13.3 is my biggest fear about 16, but let's not talk about that until 16 is actually released. Anyway, my points in that whole speech is that outside of some of the earlier games like 6, 7, 9, and 10, the Final Fantasy games are fine. They're good. but I don't think they're great. And in particular, Final Fantasy X was my first that I played through to completion that I absolutely loved. Loved everything about that game, except maybe some of the voice acting. And then everything that's come out after that has just been on a steady downwards trajectory. Also, in case you're not aware, we have two very simple rules on this channel. Number one, no king shaming. Number two, we do not talk about 10-2. I did not forget. I'm just not allowed to talk about it, and you're not allowed to talk about it either, so forgetting that one. So, after the PlayStation Experience 2014 fiasco, which doesn't require any explanation, we finally got an announcement of the remake at E3 2015. And like everyone else, I was over the goddamn moon. We'd all collectively dreamed about this from the moment we saw that PS3 tech demo back in the day. And incidentally, I don't doubt for a moment that Square Enix, or was it Square or Square Enix back then? It was Square Enix. I don't doubt for a moment that they knew what would happen. They knew what the fan reaction would be. They had to know, surely, that people would lose their shit. PlayStation Experience 2015 happened, trailer with gameplay was released, and everything was looking absolutely brilliant, still over the moon. And yeah, they went silent for a bit because they were hard at work. It would be released any year now, and there's a great chance that it would come out and we would all love the thing. And then something truly magical happened. I played 15. And that was a wonderful experience because that completely and utterly destroyed any hype that I had for the 7 remake. No, really. 15 is fucking awful. The only thing that I like about 15 is the relationship and the dialogue between the bros. That's it. Everything else about that game can get in the trash and it would be a better game for us. And that really made me think, why did I think that the 7 remake would actually be any good? Because I haven't truly enjoyed a Final Fantasy game since 10, and that was what, a decade and a half ago. So with that change of mindset came complete liberation. I saw the stories. They took development away from CyberConnect 2? Not a problem. Game wasn't coming out anyway, won't be any good. They're urgently looking for staff? Yeah, well, of course they are. They need to keep the charade up and bits to pretend like they're working. Oh, what's this? They released some kiosks? Anyone could do that. They just finished writing the scenario? What year is it? And yeah, whenever I saw a story, it's like, no, I don't care. I do not care. This game's never coming out. It'll never be any good. It was great. Everything was great. And then that state of play happened in May 2019, and that was followed by E3 in June. Rest in peace, E3. Pretty much from that point, I was all in again. Despite everything I just said about me not liking the Final Fantasy series for the past decade and a half or so, I was back in. I had hope again. I watched most of the trailers. I think I bugged out immediately after the one where they showed Red 13. That's where I stopped watching. That's where it's like, yep, Square Enix are showing way too much here. At the start of 2020, we got the demo. Thank you to PSN for the leak. And it looked like absolutely everything that I wanted it to be. It was glorious. March came around where the game didn't get released because it got delayed by a few weeks, which is always a concern. And then COVID happened. And then finally, on its release date of April 10, 2020, I already had the Platinum Trophy because Square Enix released it early in Australia. I'm still not entirely sure why. They mentioned they shipped it early, but putting it on sale early was just super weird. It also completely wrecked my plans for that week working and also Easter that year, but hey, whatever. Now, this game is obviously very different from the original, and there are certain things that happen, primarily within the last 2 hours or so, which simply don't line up with the original, and they have upset people. Like capital U upset. Actually, no, let's make it all caps upset. People were not happy with this game due to the changes. I can't say I'm not worried about that because this is the same company that produces fucking Kingdom Hearts. But unlike some parts of the fan base, I'm not offended by it. I'm not upset by it. It's different, but to me, it's fine. I said right at the start of this ramble that I'm not beholden to the original, and I still believe that. The original is a good game. It is not a great game. I do believe it absolutely could have benefited from a better localization, and yeah, if they want to tinker with it, that's fine by me. I'd much rather prefer to play something entirely new rather than a one-to-one remake, and I say this having completed the Dead Space remake, which is almost a one-to-one remake, just with some additional stuff added, and that can be great in its own right as well. However, when you're remaking something that was done however many console generations ago, I think you do need to take some liberties with it. And so far, I think Square Enix are doing okay. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of actually destroying a physical manifestation of Destiny, however, because that seems like an incredibly bold move where, at the time, they weren't even certain how many games there were going to be in this project. They were talking about whether it was going to be 2 games or 3 games. They've decided on 3, they've confirmed that. But ultimately, I'm okay with that, if only because it is seeding a little bit of doubt and confusion and uncertainty. And that's hopefully going to keep us sustained for the next 10 years or so until the final game comes out. Ultimately, I think the ball is in their court to see whether or not they can screw it up. Now, because of everything I've just said about me not loving the original, and therefore not having too many problems with the changes, I'm a bit freer to enjoy this game on its own merits. And I'll be blunt, I love this game. I love it. It's basically Final Fantasy XIII, except it's actually good. It has a cast of characters that I truly care about, and I have feelings for them, and I don't believe that is PS1 nostalgia talking. The story is still mostly there, it's intact. It's simple, but you know what? It doesn't need to be complex. At least not at this point. Not until we get into some of the aspects of Nibelheim. It just feels like there's a hell of a lot less bullshit than the previous entries. And the combat system. Whew, that took me about 1.5 playthroughs to truly understand and get my head around it. And it also genuinely has an aspect of get good for hard mode. I remember trying hard mode back in the day and I died against the Scorpion Sentinel 3 times before I got through it. It's a hell of a lot of fun by mixing up the bosses, taking away your items, which is an interesting choice, and I think that needs fine-tuning. In fact, I think the whole item system needs tuning full stop. But yeah, introducing new attacks to the bosses, managing your MP, it's good stuff. And having finished this video series, I'm still not actually certain about how some of the more exotic materia works or how to create truly OP builds. And yet, you can still have an absolute blast with that combat system. You really can. There's definitely things I think that can be improved and should be improved. Things like the level design, things like the aerial combat. It just doesn't work. The Yuffie DLC kind of got close, but it's simply not there outside of Barrett's arm cannon. And that needs to be toned down in Rebirth. They've got to get rid of some of the anime grunting. We can't have a repeat of what happened here. But all in all, I can genuinely say that I love this game. I really do. And up until the presentation at E3 2019, for me, it was unexpected. Final Fantasy was on a downward spiral for so many years for me. And finally, they managed to produce a game that I really, really enjoyed. I don't know if I'll be coming back to this game outside of maybe some weird challenge runs or speedrunning perhaps. But for me, they nailed this. Thank you. Moving on. It's April 2023 when I'm recording this. It's been a while since I played. Babylon's Fall is dead. Yuki Naka has been arrested for insider trading. Rebirth has been announced for this winter, which puts its release window anywhere after December 2023. I believe my gut feeling is that the earliest it'll come out is April 2024, but I've got a suspicion it's going to get delayed again. Yuki Naka was arrested for insider trading again. Just to be clear, at the moment he's been arrested twice. There's still rumors that Square Enix are interested in NFTs. The Crisis Core remaster came out. I've played that and platinumed that for the first time. And oh boy, if that was the best part of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, how bad was Dirge of Cerberus? Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long journey, but we're here at the end finally. So I think I said it at the end of the video, but I don't want to listen to myself again. I am beyond hyped for Rebirth, and I can't wait for it. And when that comes out, I'll definitely be putting up videos for that. Anyway, that is more than enough rambling. I will leave it there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I sincerely appreciate it. I don't know why you do, but thank you. My normal ramblings will kick in around the 24-minute mark. Thanks, everyone.
Forget it.
You mad? I actually haven't traveled by rooftop before.
Be surprised if you had.
It's honestly kind of exciting.
Well, first time and all.
Wait! Give me a moment. Don't just run off on your own.
Those the words of a soldier candidate?
So petty. Looks kinda rusty.
I'll go first.
Whew. That was unexpected. Thank you, Cloud. Ah, there it is. The wall. You know, but
Too dangerous?
too much. Maybe more than even people hate all that passion, all those dreams. This time I'll go first. After all, I can't count on you to wait.
Sure about this?
See for yourself. Maybe I'll go on ahead and leave you all by your lonesome. Just,
Maybe you shouldn't talk.
then you talk. Tell me a story.
Not for free.
Cheapskate. You're.
Oh,
Gotcha.
you're killing me here.
Here goes nothing. Woo!
Ugh.
We're getting closer to the station. Even so, we'll probably run into a few monsters on the way.
Wow, we actually got a HP lock on that thing.
What?
I fought scarier things in my sleep.
That's very strange.
Seriously?
I won't let you down.
That's that.
So, Cloud, you don't know the slums that well, do you?
Compared to you? No. Training grounds, barracks, battlefields. That's the world I know.
You sound proud of that.
I'm sorry, Aerith, I just don't have time for you today.
I can see that.
Oh? Thought the world you knew didn't include stations.
Ha ha.
Oh, didn't expect to see you here.
Cloud, wait!
Wait.
We're not waiting for Aerith, but we are waiting for Cloud to watch Rude land in the helicopter.
There's a Shinra dump site up ahead. Not the kind of place anyone would ever choose to hang around in.
But a great place to lay low.
Lend me your strength.
Come on. Another one? Yeah, look at that. That I don't get.
No telling
We were
where
on
they'll
that
come from.
way too
Monsters
quickly.
instinctively
Far quicker than we normally are in the main game. And I got additional ads spawning. That was very strange. Come on.
That didn't work. Maybe it's broken? Pretty sure this Chaperon loops around too, so...
Hint, hint. Eris telling us to go around. So we've got this little area, we've got the pushing puzzle up ahead, then we're into Sector 5 slums, we have to rescue the child, and then I believe we can exit the chapter. And there's some other stuff in between it's missing, such as delivering flowers. But apart from that, I don't think there's much else.
How do you figure?
Because they went for the stronger prey. There, check it out. The heart of the slums.
Still a fair ways off.
Well, we did take
Nah.
me.
Amazed.
You're in for it.
Don't have time.
You'll want to make time. And that's the final word on it. We'll get home quick and eat our... Guess I gotta. Lend me your strength.
That it?
Okay, if I remember correctly, we can go straight through this door, and then we've got to work our way through the next one.
It's away!
I wish it kept sleeping.
Again, a HP lock, look at that.
Was never in doubt.
I don't ever recall seeing those. I think it's just because there's dialogue going on, which prevents them from going down immediately until the dialogue is over. There we go. I'm thinking ahead, Aerith.
Nice work. Way to think ahead. Guess we're home free.
No need for thanks. I'd rather get paid.
The
You're
anime
getting
grunts
paid right
conversation.
Huh?
Oh.
I really hope Rebirth tones some of that down. I get the need for wanting to fill in the dead air,
Be able to
but
relax a little
that's
now.
not the way to
Don't
do
forget
it.
about the Turks.
Ah,
Could come at us any time. Keep an eye out.
what are they watching?
We need to watch this again. Unfortunately, there's no way of skipping this. I feel this is a good compromise. Like, this is a good way to provide exposition through a massive screen up the top of the slums that Shinra has supplied or installed, along with the speaker system, electricity, whatever have you. It's a good way of giving a bit of an exposition dump on everything that's happened so far.
Over there. That's the director of Shinra's Advanced Weaponry Division, isn't it?
Enough of that doom and
Excuse me,
gloom.
ma'am, but Would you mind answering a few
Here,
questions?
right?
They're targeting reactors.
And it's just a shame we don't see much more of Scarlet outside of the DLC.
What kind of damage did it suffer in the explosion? Are we in any danger?
And also, the amount of talking going on in the background in this scene is just really, really distracting.
And all fires have been successfully extinguished. The situation is under control, and the people of our fair city need not worry about any additional complications. We're in the process of conducting a full forensic investigation, but we suspect the device used was similar to that employed in the attack on Mako Reactor 1. The perpetrators of that atrocity were filmed making their escape. These agents of the eco-terrorist group Avalanche are currently believed to be in hiding somewhere in Midgar.
I think that footage of Avalanche is actually great, and that they're presenting it like that, making their escape when they're actually entering the reactor. Because we really can't tell if that's Square Enix reusing the footage in certain places, in the wrong places or whatnot, or if it's Shinra using the footage incorrectly. Maybe it's both. Maybe Square Enix is Shinra. It means some of their recent creative decisions would make a lot of sense.
Why the hell would anyone do that? Without the reactors, how are we supposed to live? We need to stand up and fight against anyone who tries to destroy our way of life.
Oh, what timing. Mind lending me a hand?
Place is really hopping, huh?
Nice side
And this
effect
part
of
is a
the
really
train
long
situation.
forced walk.
So, what do you say?
I'd love to, but I help out every now and then. It's fun. Aerith! Well, well. What are you doing all the way up there?
Was trying to get a look at the reactor. Who's this guy?
This is Cloud. He's a mercenary. And currently my bodyguard. That's Oates.
See you.
He's either clearly intimidated or doesn't think much of
peas
him.
in a pod. So, what are you guys up to?
We all went to see the reactor. Oh, that's right. You're supposed to come by the house.
What for?
I don't know. You're just supposed to.
Well, guess we have a new destination. I should probably explain. The Leaf House is the local orphanage. That's where all these kids live.
Hey, Aerith, where'd you go? The church again? Next time, we should all go together.
Why, hello, Aerith. As popular as ever, I see.
Apparently, but they sure keep me on my toes.
Better than being bedridden. Thanks again for all those herbs. You've helped a lot of people.
No problem.
I
Anytime.
never noticed that this
How'd you
kid
manage
follows
to
me
find
around
so
until the
many
previous
people?
run.
I can read a ton of books.
Oh, I have my ways.
It's only in this area,
My
I think,
bodyguard,
but
just until I get home.
as soon as we go up
And
there,
you
he'll
sure
peel
he's
off.
up to it?
Someone told me that talking to them.
He is on me like a bad rash.
And I'm gonna read them all.
Looking good there.
Since I'm so generous, I gather medicinal herbs for his patients sometimes. Here's the Leaf House.
Isn't it?
Ah, come on.
ABCs, you can read any book.
I just want to go back to your place
There you are.
and
We're
meet your
back.
mum who hates
Sorry
me.
to make-
Don't be.
Well then,
No problem.
all you can care. What with all the
I'm sure they will.
Let's all wash up before our meeting.
Hey, mister, do you want one of these? Is this right?
So, Cloud, what's your favorite flower?
They're all the same to me.
Huh. You sure you want to say that to a florist?
Better than lying.
Okay. Then what'd you do with the flower I gave you? You give it away?
I did.
Ooh, to who? Tell me.
Don't recall. What?
Thought you didn't like lying. Well, anyway.
Also, I have to say, and I've said it many times before, but I'm going to say it again, this music, the music that just cut out here, that's a very, very faithful
house is
rendition
just up
of
this
Anxious Heart that was playing
Cloud
earlier.
should be home by now, so I'll introduce you.
And this is
There
where
you
the
go.
video is
That's
going to
my
end,
house.
It's amazing.
but not for about another hour or so. I can't think of a nicer area for the video to end or for the playthrough to end, honestly. Don't know how far we need to go up here to trigger it,
Found it!
but that will do.
And these right here are my babies.
So I'm not going to make the mistake that I made on hard mode. I am going to make sure I pick 3 foxtails, which is probably going to confuse the hell out of Aerith, but it's fine.
Which ones do you think we should pick?
Any of them.
Oh, don't be like that. I know you have an eye for this kind of thing. Whoa, foxtails, huh? I gotta hand it to you. I never would have thought of that. It'll definitely take them by surprise. I think we still need a few more. Which should we pick next? She said, as many as you can carry, so maybe a few more?
I think they're cheating. Look at the baskets. It looks like there are some white flowers in there.
I think we're good now. What do you say? Shall we go?
I don't think we're good at all. There are some white flowers in that basket.
No need to hurry. We're not under the gun or anything.
I'm not cut out for this crap.
Sure you are. And when you're done, you'll be drowning in job offers. So, how do you think they'll arrange these flowers?
Dunno.
Well, we'll soon find out.
One day, I want to grow up and look just like Jessie.
Again, there's a Jesse comment. I didn't realise that Jesse was familiar with this place, again, until my hard mode playthrough. Where are you, Oates?
That's what's called easy money.
There he is.
I remember you.
Where's Aerith?
The leaf.
3 words. I remember you. And then he just yeets on out of here.
I don't think I know you. Go for it! Biggs gave me a bunch of his favorites.
Is something?
You could say,
Yeah,
A Turk?
that's what I thought.
it's this guy who they say
I don't like this.
I know someone who.
Okay,
Come on.
Isn't this good? I know you can do it! Climb up there! No, it's much too dangerous. Can I pet him?
That's what's called easy money.
We even got to be on TV.
You won't stop telling us stories about that damn reactor.
I can't wait to hear.
Come on.
I don't know what that
this place
symbol
is
is
off
supposed to
limits
mean,
to
whether
Connor.
it's just something that the
If you
children
wanna
drew
rescue
or
them,
whether it's a
well,
reference to something.
we
I
gotta
have
break
no
the
idea.
rules.
Cloud, I need you to walk forward, not backwards. As long as that symbol means something to the
Aerith's
kids,
come to
it's
help.
fine.
Yeah, leave it. But there are. Don't worry, I've brought a suit.
I used to. So where's the.
I don't know.
Right now, let's.
Come on.
You guys have got to hurry and find our friends.
They ran off this way. Be careful.
Where do you think they went?
Who knows? They're kids. Nothing to do but look all over.
Okay.
All you had to do was look left when you came through there and you would have been able to see the kids, Cloud.
Kinda in a rush, so.
I'll end this.
Yeah, look at that. He fired call to arms. We're still in combat. And now we've got more.
Is that it?
Ah, there they are.
I saw them first, Aerith.
You're dead.
Gotta dig deep for this.
Again, another call to arms.
How's this?
Not bad. Easy.
This is gonna hurt. Quickly, we gotta save them.
All right. No more playing nice.
Hold on. Go on. How's this? We'll be right there.
Okay, I'm dangerously close to contemplating using my limit break there. Honestly though, it would have still been quicker to just triple slash them down. Come on, children.
Run and hide. Get fired up.
Again, there's a HP lock.
Well, you see, Cloud here used to be a soldier.
He was? Did you go fight in the war?
I might have.
Can we go through before the kids? Yes. But look at that. The kids don't have to turn side onto that, they can just walk straight on through. Alright, let's see if we can get through this before the cutscene finishes. Nope,
And we're safe.
not gonna happen.
Like you. You can't just grow up to be a soldier. You gotta work
I
at
wanted
it.
to end that battle near the ladder to see if that would work, but we're not going to get through this before the conversation finishes.
You guys, especially
We
that
got close on hard mode, but we're not going to get there on easy.
really cool when you went like, yeah, yeah. You've
It's
got
these
it
sorts of
all
things that I have to
wrong.
worry about because this playthrough is just so dang easy and we're playing through this chapter for the third time in a row.
Yeah, yeah, like that. Fine. Then how
I have to keep
about-
myself interested somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Huh, huh, like that. Isn't that right, Cloud? Isn't that right, Cloud?
At the risk of revealing that I don't like children, I sincerely hope there's less children in Rebirth.
Doesn't see me. Be quiet.
Again, we got close with that cutscene though,
Thank
much
you.
closer than I
From
thought
now
we'd
on-
get.
Okay, you guys are both grown-ups, but you're also one of us now.
Yeah, what is that creature on the wall there? I don't actually know.
Then you must be from the legendary.
So at this
Hey, Cloud,
point, I can chat to
know
you,
that
the
when
gold
I'm
saucer
out,
music
do
will
you
kick
think-
in,
Well,
I'm on the clock.
don't worry.
I always have the latest information. Come find me.
but we can definitely go straight to Era's house. Now by doing this, by doing no side quests, we are going to get Era's worst dress. And on chapter 3, which I'm hopefully recording over, I haven't recorded that speech yet, but I know I'm going to record a speech. You would have seen me do zero, or not zero, but one side quest in chapter 3. Specifically, I spoke to Chadley just so I can get the mission indicator pointing to Johnny's place, and we moved on.
You're back.
There you are.
Great job.
Isn't? Oh, I nearly. He was dressed all in black. A little scary looking.
I don't know where you got the red, yellow, and blue flowers from. I certainly don't recall supplying those. Yeah, that looks weird. That almost looks like a cake of some sort. I definitely prefer the tricolour one and the Moogle one that we saw in the previous playthrough. I thought the cactuar would be a bit smaller and a bit greener than that. Rude, let's have a chat.
No need to get rough.
That was quick.
Okay.
So, you had enough yet?
No, I don't believe that I have.
Let's stop it.
That's my job.
It is so much easier on easy mode with everything at max level. It's funny how that works. Anyway, to go back to what I was saying before, we did one side quest with Chadley in Chapter 3, which means we don't get an option of choosing Tifa's dress.
Yeah, that's enough for
By
one.
default, she's going to get her standard dress, which is the mature dress, the blue one. And basically that's why I've left this until the end, because I wanted to do a playthrough on normal, doing all the side quests. I had to do one on hard to get the manuscripts. It just works out easier to do the mature dress right at the end. It's important to note here that easy mode does not change the arrangement of those buckets there or anything like that.
So
It's just as difficult as hard mode.
was one.
Promise me.
You got it.
Thank you.
The garden at night. We'll come back here at least once for that. Now, I don't need to do chapter select to go into chapter 9, because we're going straight there.
Who knew talking to the kids about the past?
Now, in chapter 3, I did actually try something, and I spoke to the shopkeeper to try and sell my assessed materia. But it turns out that's not actually an option. It doesn't let me. All I could sell was the prayer materia. And the reason I wanted to sell the assessed materia is because of something that I brought up in the hard mode playthrough on chapter 9 coming up. Basically, the part where you go up to the vending machine and you, to use Johnny's terms, whip it out. That's where you take out your assessed materia and you assess the machine.
Working on the new plate.
So what I wanted to see is if you could actually sell that assessed materia, but talking to that shopkeeper at least, I didn't have the option.
People had only just started moving in.
So unfortunately, if I do go down that side quest, I will be forced to whip it out. However, I'm not going to go down that side quest. It doesn't matter which chain I get. I'm just going to mash through the options because we're on a timer here. As soon as we get the chain done, or as soon as we get the chain launched, I'm just going to go straight back in and abort all the side quests. If the game lets me. It's been a while. This is the worst goddamn shortcut ever, Aerith. We could have just taken the main path. Instead, we could have come through here and play with robot arms and give you awkward high fives and stuff like that.
It'll be an adventure.
Oh, and there's monsters.
Lend me your strength.
Again, another HP lock. Very strange. Oh god, can I actually hit you?
I don't think so.
Yes, thank you.
That it? What's that?
A big arm. Kinda cute, don't you think?
It was cuter in the original.
Oh, great. Someone's pulled up the ladder.
Not skipping that.
Cloud! Here's an idea.
You serious?
Absolutely. I'll throw down the ladder for you to climb.
So the real question is, have I forgotten how to do the remaining two puzzles? It's only been a few days, so I'm hoping not. Forgetting which stick does what.
Piece of cake. Give me a sec. And here comes the ladder. Well, what did I tell ya?
Stop.
Did we wake it up?
Take the lead.
So it's my turn? You can do it!
I should just stick with Cloud.
Oh, that's weird. There used to be a way through here.
Get back.
They can fight too, you know.
Okay, I distinctly remember we have to go up to the right here. Otherwise, we have to fight those two smoggers and backtrack.
Hey, I bet you can grab that container with the arm.
Sure can.
Well then, I'm gonna head down.
You've just got to put this here and then go back,
Cloud, ready?
pick her up, and then drop her off. Yeah, I think I had so much trouble with the original playthrough because there's materia that you have to pick up and there's more options, more things that you need to do. Whereas this, hopefully, is pretty simple.
Okay, right there. Hold on while I drop the ladder. Cloud, over here.
Right, so I'm looking at the map. I just want to see if I can skip this. I don't think I can. I try going down this way, Aerith's going to get upset, correct?
Whoa, not too fast, okay?
Got it.
Maybe not. That doesn't change this upcoming cutscene at all, does it? Because we look from above, we spot the campfire, and we walk in here and we say, oh, it's still warm. I can't imagine the dialogue here would be any different, but let's just see. Because neither of them has seen the campfire at this point.
Guess it's just us.
It's still warm?
It's still warm.
No, okay.
Gotta dig deep for this one.
I was definitely holding down the shoulder button. I'm not sure why that didn't work.
Okay, guys, whatever you do, don't move.
Shit! Let's get the hell out of here! Wait, you guys! Don't leave me! I'm coming!
I don't like this area of the game, but I will give it credits because when we play through it in later chapters, it changes. There are different paths leading through the same area. There's a bit of variety to it, so I will give it that.
No. Not really.
Oh, okay. I won't let you down.
It's basically the calm before the storm that is War Market. Come on.
Stupid ladders, always out of reach. Okay, Cloud.
Stupid talking dialogues that I can't skip.
You're in charge of the arm.
Alright. Again, struggling to remember. We need to pick this one up.
It's this way.
We then need to place the other one on top of it. And what I discovered last time is we can switch arms immediately. We do not need to reset this to a neutral position. We got this. That is if I'm not mashing triangle too fast.
It's this way.
Yeah, so in order to get up on the right hand side, I think from memory I have to grab the container on the top now, move it to the right, Then grab Aerith, as I'm grabbing her right now. Put her on top of that container. And then I've got to reverse those steps, put the container back, and then do this. It's actually a lot of steps. But mercifully, we don't need to go through this because we already have the materia.
Thanks for the lift. I'll have that ladder down for you in a sec.
Just let me skip the cutscene, please.
Don't worry, we'll be on the same page next time.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, okay?
Oh, Cloud.
Hold it right there!
Didn't even finish his line of dialogue.
Fresh air? Cloud, up top.
No, I can't skip that. That's interesting that I can actually go into the menu at this point. I would have thought that I would have been locked out of that while we're stuck in this animation. Alright, let's have an emotional chat to Aerith in the playground. Or not.
Here. Guess this is it then.
Let's go. And again, the dialogue is the same, but the graphics have changed.
Yeah!
Tifa?
Hello, go.
Cloud, you're alive. I thought we'd lost you.
What's going on?
Shh. I'll explain everything later. But now I'm on my way to see Don Corneo. You should head back to 7th Heaven, meet up with the gang.
But...
I'll be fine. You've seen how much ass I can kick?
I have.
We'll get a better look at it in Don Corneo's mansion, but I really want to see what's wrapped around her butt. It's like she's got that blue number on, but she's got some black stuff wrapped around her butt, and I'm not sure if it's just something that's holding the dress up or otherwise. But we'll get to look at that soon. I pay attention to such things. I'm not a perv, I swear. Let's have a chat to the stable hand and Chocobo Sam, and then we'll go into War Market.
No, and
Can't say I can't.
what'd you say to me?
What's all the rest?
We're looking for...
Depends.
Guess.
Save her.
Huh?
So, this girl,
Well... She's in...
Is that real?
wait a minute.
That's her.
I'm actually not interested in these options. I'm just Xing through them as fast as I can, so we're choosing the top option,
She's what he like. Having scouted and considered.
with one
So where can we
exception.
find-
What do you do? What you
Maybe we'll have better luck in town. Let's check it out.
Is there something on the ground there? Could have sworn I saw something just on the ground here. Maybe that texture in front of me right there. Just on the right hand side. It looked like that was glowing blue from around here. Look at that. That really threw me for a moment. Anyway, enough of that. We need to get to Don Corneo's mansion ASAP and rescue Tifa. We don't got time for you today, Johnny.
Check it out. I think we might have found our man. And he's a gaudy one.
Yeah.
Not so fast.
We're looking for some.
Let me guess.
Yeah?
So people can't.
How about me then?
Maybe.
You know, Les.
Excuse?
Kinda cute.
Come on.
Do you have any?
Aerith.
Seriously.
Cloud. Requesting permission to kill.
Denied.
And who
I
can...
can't skip over it.
First.
I just can't.
And then there's Matt. Last but not least, they're an eccentric.
Duly noted. Thanks for the info.
God, War Market looks so great at night. It looks like shit during the day, but at night it just shines. All these lights, all this color, the fog effects, everything.
This the place?
Think so.
Just wanted to see Andrea.
Let me handle this.
And why would I...
I'm not really sure.
You're a man of many...
It was like, whoa.
Oh my god.
Johnny's confused. Alright, have a chat to the Honeybee Inn proprietor there and immediately leave because he's not letting us see Andrea.
Excuse me.
How'd you like a piping hot fun? Pretty rowdy place.
Oh, wrong way, wrong way. Yeah, he says the same thing in chapter 14 later
Wait,
on.
here's... Pretty please?
Why not?
Really?
Sure.
Next time we'll be...
You want it?
How can you be...
Damn, you really...
Sure do.
Heads.
Yeah, this is pushing us towards the Chocobo Sand path.
There's something downright wrong.
I did see a triangle option just as he was getting shoved out the door. I wonder if that's anything. We've seen the luxury course. We saw that on hard mode. We saw the poor man's course earlier. I don't think we've seen the standard course, so let's just have a look at that.
Then make your way to the room in the back. And wait.
Cloud?
Well then, it should go without saying that you get what you pay for. All four fingers at once, quick and to the point.
Little rough.
They can stop at any time if it's too much to handle. Try flexing the muscles. You'll feel the difference.
It's the only version of the massage that doesn't feel
Close
creepy as
remember.
fuck.
Am I right?
Actually, yeah.
And he leaves happy. Not satisfied, not in pain, but happy.
How was it?
It's alright, I guess.
What are you doing?
Flexing.
Flexing.
Never mind.
I love the way that regardless of which choice you make, Aerith is
Think you'll
ruthless.
make a habit of it?
If you choose a bad option, she's on your case. If you choose the option that we just chose,
I think I've
she's
seen
on your
everything
case.
I need to see.
If you choose the awkward, sexy option, she's on your case.
You're one of the tree.
And why?
Really?
But
Huh?
I could never send doing so.
Is something wrong with my outfit?
Your outfit's alright, Aerith.
Look,
Sorry.
so long as you
How much?
what I said, but don't worry. So listen,
Uh,
there's an underground. If you win,
there any prize? All right.
that they're already letting fighters inside. You should hurry.
What have we gotten ourselves into?
Nothing good. I wouldn't expect a fair fight in this town.
Think we can win it all?
That's one thing I'm definitely sure of.
I appreciate the confidence. Just don't get too cocky, okay?
The doors are now open for tonight's Tornado Cup. Nothing gets the blood.
What's this?
Team.
Yes, the two of us. I need to get.
All right, team it is. Head to the waiting area.
4 more battles and then we're pretty much done.
Down, down, down we go.
I'm definitely going to need to adjust the materia for the Hell House battle, just to make it a bit
So,
quicker,
how deep
but
does this thing go, you think?
apart from that I think we could just blaze through the rest as usual.
I wonder how many people are fighting.
Triple slashes for everyone.
Hey, you're not nervous, are you?
Nope.
Really? You're even more quiet than usual.
Just trying to focus. Like you should.
Okay, we need to go in here, have a chat to Johnny. That's going to act as a trigger.
Oh,
Ouch. What?
I just needed a... I hope you get... I don't want to...
That's alright, you'll be fine by
Please
chapter
make
14.
it. We're in way too deep to back out now.
You two, try not to get yourselves killed.
Once again, I'm holding the shoulder button, but it didn't acknowledge it. I think what I'm doing wrong is I'm holding it too early.
And the winners of our match are Cloud and Aaron!
Yeah, I set it at the end of the hard playthrough, but the lighting on there is a bit weird, but I strongly prefer the in-game character models to what you see in the actual CG
Well, that's
cutscenes.
one with down. Go team. What's wrong?
The rules don't...
Yeah, true.
Nah.
I don't know if it's just because I've spent more time with them in the game and therefore I think this is the default appearance or what. But the CG cutscenes just look a little too perfect, a little too porcelain dolly.
That's what they ready to rock. Just remember, try not to die.
I have no intention of dying, good sir. Yes, I'm at the gate. Way ahead of you, announcer.
Unbelievable! What the hell did I just see? It was 2 against, I don't remember how many exactly, but a lot. But somehow the winners of our match are... Once again, Cloud and Aaron!
Alright, we don't need to wait for a call this time, I believe. We just go straight here and we're in the final battle.
It's
Nope.
not your turn yet. Your names will be announced over. Man, it's the final. I've got a lot of money riding on you two.
The final match will begin shortly.
Ladies!
It's on now.
Get fired up!
I can't believe it! And the winners of the Corneo Cup, the deadly and dynamic duo, Cloud and Aaron!
Mike.
Alright, time for a quick materia check. Maybe the last time that I ever do this. I want to give Ice and Fire to Cloud. Give wind to Aerith. Actually, I'll keep steadfast block on there. What can I get rid of? Get rid of synergy. Yep, let's do that. Do that, and that will do me. I'm also going to give first strike over to Aerith as well, just to give her a bit of boost. Now, I did actually see something interesting in between the two videos, which is how the skill master materia works. As I've learned, the ATB assist, basically you need to use both commands very, very quickly, but if you're using skill materia, that persists. So let's say you cast one skill, or one ability rather, right at the start of battle, and then about 20 seconds later you use two other abilities in quick succession. You'll still get the boost for that, so there is potential for me to do some real damage here. Or to build up my ATB, whatever. Not that I really need it, so this would have been very useful to know, I don't know, however long ago. What am I doing? Doing that. Yeah, Hell House, this is not going to end how you think it's going to end.
Watching you ready to kick. It's not even a show 'em what you got.
Yeah, this was the single biggest surprise on my initial playthrough because I hadn't been spoiled. And yeah, I consider it proof that Square Enix gets it, and it's why, even though it's just been announced, it's why I'm quite hyped for Rebirth, because I think they did a fantastic job on this game, and I can't see them screwing up Rebirth. I just can't.
Oh, the battle is joined, and already I can tell you, this bonus match will not happen.
Here goes.
I'll end this.
Hey, you got this.
Wait.
It's almost disappointing.
It is kind of disappointing. I cast one spell, and that was a phase change.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is happening?
What the?
I know this is not the correct time and or place to do that, but it's fine.
Will you be able to put that this on the house?
This one's for you.
I'm ready for your thoughts. What weird and evil designs is it cooking up this time?
That'll do. Go on. You can do it.
My turn. Need a light.
HP locked up there, it's got to actually come down before it'll move into its next phase like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you seeing this? The world's first flying out!
Stay back.
What's this? The old switcheroo?
Wrong spell. Wrong spell. Doesn't matter? No, it doesn't. Yeah, easy mode is just a fraction too easy when you're at maximum level.
There you are. So, madam, I was all big events like the Corneo.
I'm not interested, I just want to get back there so I can have a chat to Madam M. And learn more about my dress.
So weird. Sworn. Relax, man.
You're here. Good. I have everything I need to get started. Just one thing before we do. You're the Cloud, right? Cloud the Merc. Well, that's what you call yourself, I'm told. But what have you actually done for the people of Sector 5, There's this little thing called karma. How a person treats others dictates how they themselves should be treated. And believe me, I'll get you the dress that you earned. All right, now that that's out of the way, once you change, you won't be able to leave.
That sounds very ominous. I mean, you should consider that I just won you a million gil, lady.
All right then. In the meantime, there ought to be now see no being so I went and
Hey,
but there's so this is the and that's enough opportunity for the dresses part.
Ouch. Well,
Yeah, when we were trying to figure this out before the guide came out to tell us what you need to do to get the various quest chains, I fought the Hell House God knows how many times and I always got Sam's quests. I don't know what the hell I eventually did to actually get Madame M's quests to trigger. It was always Sam.
Howdy. Let me see if I can. Kidding. If I can see what. Ain't nothing wrong. Knowing the ways. Reckon I got. You have yourself a grand time tonight.
Now, we're not going to do any side quests here, and what that's going to do is that is going to give us Cloud's worst dress. Aerith is about to get into her worst dress, which we'll see in just a moment. That's going to give us the final 3 dresses that we need. Not doing any side quests.
Cloud! Tifa!
take a deep breath.
I heard Corne...
Well, I do.
I'll come too! Hey, Cloud! Bro, I can call you bro, right?
Nope.
Just want to say, bro, that I'm totally relieved that you're looking out for Tifa. So, like,
Johnny will be in Rebirth for sure. I don't know how much of a role he's going to have. I really want to go back and play the original game just to see what sequence of events is involved and whether he turns up or not. Along with, you know, just playing the original game again.
Well, this is it for me. Call me crazy. Yes, sir.
Oh, what is with that LOD? DOF, whatever. Oh my god. That was freaky. That was worth it. Holy crap. I think that might have happened just because I got there way too early. And I interrupted his conversation.
You again?
Got that letter?
Me again.
Yeah, it's who?
Well, either way,
I wasn't asking.
Huh? Wouldn't try it if you even, and that's some, or it could want get it. You're in the dawn. Anyway, you've got, if you're sure you, but if I were you.
So let's go over to the bridge and get our fireworks scene with Aerith. Or not.
Alright, you're up. Come on.
Kitty.
You look fine.
Hey,
Aerith, what are you wearing?
I know, right? It's bad. Like, super bad. I've been trying to figure out if there was anything more I could have done with it, but...
Doesn't really matter if you get picked or not anyway.
Yeah, but still. You put a lot of work into this. Did you put a lot of work into this?
Hey, wait a minute. Did Johnny forget?
1 million gil dressed right there,
Who
chat.
knows what they'll... No way in hell.
By myself? Come on.
In this particular playthrough,
According to
Madame M is not only some weird, creepy sex trafficker, she's also just a bitch. Honestly, I don't think that dress looks terrible. I just think the dress along with the hair really doesn't do it for me, but... 1 million gil. And the War Market denizens don't seem to mind too much. What about you?
Hey, I see the way you're looking at her.
I was looking to confirm what I already knew. There is no one.
Hey there, cutie. Where you headed? Why don't you let me buy you a...
Yeah, they're all saying the same things, and this sharp-tongued woman down here is probably going to say B for effort again.
I give her a B for effort. That dress is completely overshadowing her.
It's really not overshadowing her in this case. She honestly doesn't look much better than any of the other NPCs around here.
told him. It'll be fun.
What?
It's pretty rare. Trust me. Come on.
Wait.
No, can't. So, here's Madame Emsa. So I say we march right up to him, explain the situation.
Good evening. Welcome.
We're here to see on.
You must be
Mr. Clark.
I've been instructed.
What stage?
The one in the back, sir. Straight through those doors.
Okay. We've seen a 27 or 28 run, a 28 or 28 run, and now it is time to see a 0 of 28 run. What I'm going to do here is just mash the buttons to get rid of the prompts ASAP. Just going to constantly mash X. And hopefully we'll be able to see the dance uninterrupted with any QTEs on the screen. Please enjoy. She's confused. Honestly, that didn't look much, but that was hard.
Well, you tried.
See, the others are appreciative. They're clapping, but no, Aerith and her two assistants there are like, nah, not good enough.
Honey, I'm in love.
Yeah, nothing else changes other than Aerith's reaction.
Yes, I will transform you into a vision of beauty. Now, without further ado, let us begin!
That was actually harder than it seems because I was mashing the X button for about 2.5 minutes straight. Non-stop. And this here is the trailer dress. This is the first one that we ever saw. It's not quite as fancy as the other two, it's very plain, but I think it gets the job done. But honestly, I think that confused a lot of people, myself included, when we went through the dance, we got to this area, and we saw a completely different dress. It's like, hang on, what the hell is going on? Wait, there's 3 dresses per character? Kinda mind-blowing.
True beauty is an expression of the heart. A thing without shame, to which notions of gender don't apply. Don't ever be afraid of them.
Farewell, Andrea Rodea, because I don't think we'll be seeing you in the sequels.
That show today blew my mind.
Look at him, his head is down.
Hey, look at me. I could dance too. How much did you drink tonight?
He lifts it up the moment he leaves the threshold, but dang.
Now that was a show.
From the start?
Probably not.
Cloud?
Did you see their look
Yoo-hoo,
of surprise?
Cloud, hello? Aerith to Cloud, come in. 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 Aerith to Cloud, come in.
He's not happy. Alright, this is it, folks. I did a quick Google search while the dance was on. I got the platinum on the original PS4 release on April 9, 2020. As of the date of recording right now, it is the 25th of July. That is a difference of 837 days. If the calculator is accurate, I don't know if it is or not. But let's do this.
Such beauty is the spice of life. Wouldn't you agree?
Or maybe we just need one more push. Let's do this.
Not a word.
Not even one?
No.
But you're so pretty.
But one must behold such flowers.
Hey, watch the way you walk.
Honestly, I can't think of a better place to get the platinum trophy for this game. It's almost as good as the place where I'm going to end this playthrough. Now, before I end it, there is one... Well, firstly, I want to finish off Chapter 9, but there is one thing I want to check. And that is, I want to see if I can find Madam M and or Sam around here, because we've seen that in the various dresses we can get. We can speak to them outside Madam M's place, or we can speak to them outside Sam's place. I just want to see if they're around. Can we go inside here? Oh, wow. Madam M, are you in here? Plus, you know, this gives me the opportunity to walk around as Cloud in the dress, so I'm just stretching it out for a little bit longer. I wonder where they are, if indeed they are anywhere around here. Are they near Sam's place? Maybe the conversations that you have with them really are just a reward for doing all their side quests. I'm going to take a quick look around the Honeybee Inn, and then we'll look around the restaurants, and if I can't find them, I'll move on.
Think you're too good for my buns? Who is she? I need to learn everything about her.
I've done it again. My whole
Yeah, I don't see them anywhere around here.
Where did they get off? Treating us like we're not even here.
What's this?
No, they're not outside here. Fucking Palmer's there. I'm so looking forward to his role in the remake. I mean, they said nothing's going to be cut. Things will be changed, obviously, but I'm so looking forward to seeing that driver and his driving skills. And that's all I'll say. If you've never seen it before, you are in for a treat.
Side by side with another beautiful flower. I never believed it, but love at first sight does exist.
I don't see these two weird, creepy, charismatic sex traffickers anywhere. Jules is there, but that's about it.
That is one hot chick.
I've never noticed you standing here.
Bro, look at you. So, how's the dress working out for you?
I wanted to help out, do my part, you know. After Andrea told me the plan, I ran all over looking for something. But like, I don't got a lot of money. Don't worry, bro. You got this. Don't worry, bro. You got this.
Cloud says nothing. I've never noticed Johnny standing there. Have I run past him on every single playthrough? Or is he only there because I didn't do any side quests? Damn, that's another thing I'm going to have to check in my spare time whenever I revisit this game again.
No way.
It is a long-ass list.
Serious?
Is there a problem?
I hope you know it.
Oh, we'll be fine.
If you say so.
The two of you here for the audition? Second floor, at the very end of the walk. And don't go poking your nose in where it doesn't belong. Room's at the end. Keep going.
Alright, we'll watch this cutscene. And then we'll do the all-important step of evaluating their dresses.
What's that weird, sweet smell? And why do I feel so dizzy?
Gas. Come on.
Her hair just looks so ratty.
Damn it.
Cloud.
So, how you pretty ladies doing? Feeling a little lightheaded? So we can't have that. Let's say we escort you to the parlor, so you can make yourself more comfortable. Let's get this show on the road.
Where are you taking us?
Come on now. Oopsie daisy. Hey, you had it with care, asshole. The hell? You want to throw down the Corneo's girl? So if you leave a mark on him, you ain't getting off with a one. I know. Managed to wrangle some real lookers this time, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can you hear me?
Tifa?
Yes?
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Wait a minute. Cloud? Is that you? Oh my god, that makeup! And that dress!
Nailed it. I know. Thank you. Moving on. You good?
Yeah, bit woozy, but I'll manage. Hey, Tifa. How you doing?
Okay.
Oh, right. I'm Aerith. A friend of Cloud's. We were worried and thought we'd come help you out.
Thanks?
Cut the chatter. We gotta leave.
Huh?
Right now.
No! Not until I've got what I came for.
What?
So, after we made it back to the slums, some guys came around asking all kinds of questions. So I did some digging.
And found out they were Corneo's men.
Right. They were interested in Avalanche. But I couldn't figure out why. So I thought I'd come and ask the man himself.
Seriously?
Thought if I could find a way in and get some one-on-one time, but then I realized I'd only be one of 3 candidates. And that if he didn't pick me, it would all be for nothing.
Then your worries are over, aren't they? Because the other 2 candidates are right here, right?
Right.
So yeah, if we're all in on it, then nothing can go wrong.
I guess not.
You? Me? Cloud? Makes no difference who gets chosen, does it?
I don't know, Aerith. It feels wrong getting you involved in all this.
Don't even bother trying to talk her out of it.
Aww, Cloud gets me. Took you long enough.
So what happens now?
I think they'll call for us when it's time.
This room gives me the creeps.
If you ask me, and yeah, this is uneducated me talking,
Well?
as I'm going to say at the beginning of the video, I don't have that much experience with the original Final Fantasy VII. I genuinely don't believe those breasts have been reduced by a significant amount.
Now, ladies, listen up. I'm sure you're still feeling a bit woozy, but tonight's audition's about to begin. Head out the door to the left and up the stairs. Come on, ladies, let's hustle.
All right, guys, let's do this.
Do you want to do this?
Oh, Tifa. Yeah, that dress looks great. I mean, Tifa looks great in all of the dresses in my opinion. What is that black thing she's wearing? Sort of like a little cord looped around these little wooden things around her waist. It doesn't look terrible, it just looks a little bit out of place if you ask me. Having said that, it could be just Nomura and his belt buckle fetish coming through again, but honestly, that looks better than the belt buckles, just saying. And Aerith.
Come on, you know you're into this.
I am, but honestly, that hair combined with the frills on his shoulders and the frill at the bottom.
So?
Actually, I'm not too bothered about the frill at the bottom, but the frill on the shoulders ultimately is what kills that dress for me. Otherwise, I don't think it's honestly terrible. I mean, it's not Flash, but I think you look fine. And I do like that ribbon you have in your hair, for reals. It's like a black gemstone. Is that the black materia?
Come on, you know you're into this.
Wait. If Madame M was fiddling with your hair, does that mean she's got the materia now? Maybe she lifted it while you weren't looking. That would be a plot twist and a third. We get to the Temple of the Ancients, you go to pull out Holy out of your hair, spoiler alert, and it's not there. Madame M's got it. There we go, that's how Madame M and Sam and maybe the proprietor of the Honeybee Inn, Andrea Rodea, are going to return in Rebirth. That is my theory. Right, we just have 2 more things to do here. We need to go through the events here. And then we're visiting Chapter 14, one last time.
Okay, my beautiful ladies, time to line up for the dawn.
Yeah, it might just be my unconscious bias talking, but Cloud really doesn't look much like a woman here.
Wait, you look kind of familiar. We haven't met before, have we?
Mm-mm.
The other 2 dresses, Cloud looks a little bit more feminine, I think.
Whatever. All right, y'all good to go? Then let's do this thing. Introducing Walmart's most eligible bachelor, the one and only Don Corneo. Ladies? Nice. Very nice. Whichever one shall I pick? Oh. Shall I pick you? Or maybe you? Yeah. Oh yeah! I've got it! I've got it! Today's bride-to-be is...
Today's?
And tomorrow's, or the day after's, if the Don takes a shine to you.
Pathetic.
Huh? Hey, which one of you said that? Was it you? Ooh, you got a mouth on you. I'm gonna enjoy breaking it in. Today's lucky lady is the Big Bone Girl. Huh? Still playing hard to get? I can dig it. Oh, yeah. The leftovers are all yours. Yeah, please! Okay, ladies. Y'all coming with me. Don't be shy, little kitten. Shimmy on over and give Daddy some sugar. No need to play coy. Nobody here but you and me.
I just don't want to skip this in case it skips the next cutscene with Aerith and Tifa kicking ass.
Back off.
Ooh.
What was that?
Don't you worry your pretty little head. Just a picture to preserve the moment. And to ensure you don't do anything inappropriate like say no.
Asshole.
Oh, praise me more!
Hey, yo, fellas! We got guests, and y'all got first crack at entertaining them. Courtesy of the ever-generous Don Corneo himself. Never forget, the Don provides.
Yeah. So, ladies, ready to get to it?
Yeah. I guess I'm good to go whenever. How about you, Tifa?
4 guys between us. Okay, let's not keep Cloud waiting.
Right.
Wait. I know you. The Colosseum.
What the hell?
Get down!
Oh, you stupid!
Wait!
That will never get old.
Good job, Eric. It was nothing compared to you.
So, Tifa's dress here, honestly, I think it's the most practical for her fighting, except for maybe the lack of sports bra. Eris is also practical, but so is her dress one step
Andrea
up.
filled me in on the situation. I come bearing gifts with gear.
Eris, best dressed, is definitely not practical for fighting.
I'll do what I can to clean this up.
Tifa's sporty dress, I'm not certain about. Maybe it's okay because of the side split. And her shinobi outfit is just perfect.
Okay, let's go rescue Cloud. Corneo's room, right?
I have no idea if we need to finish off this chapter or not, but I'm going to.
Better hurry.
Leslie, I have no idea if we'll be seeing you in Rebirth or not. Your story that you gave us in chapter 14 feels unfinished, but I don't know if we're going to see it later on. I just parry these dudes to death. Apparently, yes. Although I think... Oh, come on, Tifa. I'm finishing the playthrough. We can't have you talking about showers. I think Aerith gave Tifa a bit of a hand there.
It's your turn. Let me handle it. I won't let you down.
Alright, one last time. One last time.
No more games. It's over. No surprises there.
She actually pulls a goddamn dolphin out of nowhere for good measure. Alright, let's see Cloud's upskirt kick, and then we'll call it quits.
Don't stop! Tell me what a bad boy I am! Yes, I am! Here I come, baby!
Lovely.
Hey, who the hell gave you permission to do that? One of you get in here and teach this bitch some manners!
Sorry, but your boys had to learn some manners too.
What the?
Cloud, your clothes.
We'll just wait for the reveal, we'll skip it, and then I think we'll choose the bottom option because I don't know exactly what he says. So the previous option that I chose, he literally called Don Corneo a jackass. Let's see what happens when we think you've lost your mind.
I don't know. When they've lost their minds?
Close, but no cigar! Your parting gift is in the sewers.
Very smooth.
Enjoy the sights and smells!
We'll definitely be seeing you in Rebirth in Wutai, if indeed Wutai is in Rebirth. I've got a horrible feeling they may actually try putting Wutai as DLC. Like, if they can't make it fit in Rebirth, or if they can't make it fit in Revengeance, or whatever the third game is going to be called, they may put it as DLC. I mean, let's face it, you never had to truly visit Wutai in the original. Spoiler alert, if you never played it, it was optional. And they have a lot of content to get through, so I do wonder, really, if Wutai is going to be DLC. That is another bet that I want to make. Let's just have a very quick look at the play log, because check this out. Everything is done except for one final thing. The Chapter 14 resolution, which hopefully, if I've done everything correctly, we're going to get right now. We had a chat to Tifa out here. We had a chat to Aerith. And now we get to have a chat to our boy Barrett. And I did this earlier in the playthrough as well in Chapter 3 when I was talking over, but I can totally change his thing here. And it's going to update his character model right there, even though he's not in the party. And that's actually kind of cool. Well, I think it's cool anyway. Barretts, what's on your mind, bro?
You should rest up while you can.
Likewise.
Nah, I'm good. Real good. Besides, when I close my eyes, I start thinking about things. About people. Like Finn. Lazy little punk. Kid would do damn near anything, except what you told him. But ask him to paint you a picture, and boy howdy. Those stamps in the tunnels? Finn's work. Every one. Then there's Al, Intel guy. He had these tricks for stealing codes I still don't understand. Stole his share of hearts, too. But when it came to the ladies, he just had the one trick. Bouquet of flowers hidden behind his back. Funny to think, some of them might have even come from here. He pulled a flower trick on Tifa once, believe it or not. She told him where to stick them.
Of course she did.
Our quartermaster Nellie had a good laugh at that. She was tight with Jessie. People sometimes took them for sisters even. They'd say no way and get upset, but then they'd start giggling and, you know. Yeah, they'll all be fine. They're strong. They're tough. Like me. After we save Aerith, I'll introduce you to them.
Sounds good.
Huh. Never thought I'd feel better after talking with your hard-boiled ass.
Think you can sleep now?
Oh yeah, like a baby.
Some very quick thoughts on that, because I need to talk over this. That's a lovely scene, and I would have expected some of the names there to line up with some of the DLC characters that we met, but none of them did, so Avalanche clearly is a bigger organization than we think it is.
All you gotta do is holler.
Again, this cutscene is not one that we're likely to get, because most people do some of the side quests, which will point you towards Tifa and Aerith. So you've really got to work to get that one. Anyway, that's all.
She's calling out to me. I can feel it.
We all can. So please.
But honestly, to end this playthrough and to end this series that I've put up on YouTube here, I can't think of any better place for it to end than on this cutscene right here.
I always knew it was coming. Knew that one day I'd have to say goodbye to my baby girl. But not yet. Please, bring her back to me.
sorry, honey. I wish I didn't have to. I wish I could be with you all the time. I really do. But if I stay here, I can't fight out there. Some bad people are trying to hurt the planet. And Daddy and his friends are trying to stop those bad people. The slums, your friends, the whole planet. It's Daddy's job to protect it. And that's why I've got to go. You remember that nice girl who came to find you? Well, now we have to go find her. And when we bring her home, you need to say thank you, okay?
Okay. That girl, she was kinda...
What?
Nothing. You should help her.
We will.
You'll come back, right?
Of course, I promise.
Okay. You can go.
We will be back, Marlene. We'll absolutely be back.
She's tougher than me. All right, time to get some payback.
Don't forget why we're doing this.
I know. To rescue Aerith.
So, how are we supposed to get topside? With everything that's happened, the trains still aren't running.
Well, we could walk along the tracks.
The city's on high alert. All the roads and public transit have probably been locked down by now.
So what's the plan then? You know another way up?
No, but I think I know someone who might.
You mean Corneo?
I would have said my final thoughts in the speech that I recorded earlier, so I won't repeat them again, but all I'll say is that it's been an absolute privilege and pleasure to be able to play this game again on the PS5. It's been a hell of a journey, but we're there at the very end. If I go into the play log, oh my god, there's no crown on the play log. We've been diddled out of the crown. Oh my god. Square Enix, why? You failed me at the final hurdle. No joke. If you finish this on the PS4, I'm going to have to find a screenshot of the PS4 version now to splice this in. I'll do that on the right-hand side right now. Can you see that? That's how it looks like on the PS4 version. When you complete everything on the play log, you get that. I'm looking at the PS5 version and I don't have that, so this version is just a total failure and I need to end this video now. Oh boy. Don't know why they changed that. I really don't. Anyway, my name is Random Attribute. It has been an absolute privilege and pleasure to be able to play this again on the PS5. Loved every moment of it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my absolute nonsense. And yeah, I am going to be back when Rebirth comes out with a vengeance. I'm looking forward to that so much. Hopefully it's going to come out in the first half of 2024. Hopefully before the end of March, because that's when Square Enix's financial year ends. That's when Remake was originally scheduled to release, but it got delayed for about 6 weeks, pushing it into their next financial year. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And when it comes out, I will be back online with a new playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So until then, see you then.
Good luck, you guys. I'll keep everyone safe. Good luck, you guys.
Take care of my girl. I'll look after Marlene and Wedge. Don't worry. Take care of my girl.